another episode, Film Speak. I'm your host, Bill. Maniacal laugh, maniacal laugh.
Welcome back to another episode of Film Speak. We're here today. We're going to be talking to a couple of special guests. One is a brilliant young director coming onto the scene. Writer, director, editor. This girl's doing it all. Her name's Kathleen Anderson. You have to keep an eye out for her. She is got some of her pictures on the internet and stuff. Just a great budding filmmaker. And also joined again by the always wonderful Clarissa Miller. I don't know how she keeps getting on the show, but you know, the stuff like that happens. And after we talk to Kathleen Anderson and Clarissa about what they've been doing and locally in film and what they've been up to, we'll be breaking down the movie Princess Bride. This movie means a lot to me. I have a lot of history with this film. When it came out in the mid-'80s, this was like my friend's group, like our Rocky Horror. We'd go every day or sometimes to go see this, and we'd end up acting it out in the sword fight and everything, all the way up through my kids. And this is so bad. I remember when my kids were just young, I think they were 6 and 4, and we were eating dinner at an Olive Garden. I don't know how we got started on the whole subject, but we started doing lines from Princess Bride, all the lines we could think of. And as we're sitting there several minutes bouncing lines back and forth, I saw out of the corner of my eye this family laughing at us. And the dad leaned over to me and he goes, "You know what? We love Princess Bride and we watch it, but we obviously don't watch it as much as your family." And boy, is that true. So thank you for joining us today on Film Speak. Let's go sit down and we'll talk with Clarissa and Kathleen and then break down the movie The Princess Bride. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. See you at the table.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
And you can leave and you can never come back. We'll be just fine without you.
Daddy?
Come on. You gotta get up. Come on, Mom. Come on. Mom.
Thank you, Richard.
Daddy? Dad! Wait! Sorry.
It's okay. Shh. Right here now. I'll always be here. Oh, is today the day?
Yes, would you follow me to the table? Our first and only order of business is Julie Carter.
Ryan Morrison's independent living contract.
All right.
Due to the current economic situation, Ryan Morrison and Julie Carter
Have decided that they must become financially independent of their families.
due to their upcoming marriage.
Marriage? To Ryan Morrison? To Julie Carter?
Rule number 1,
No questions until specified time. Furthermore, Mrs. Melinda Carter will relinquish all forms of identification pertaining to Julie Carter so that she may obtain a car ear.
finally, Julie Carter
And Ryan Morrison require a cantaloupe before departure.
questions are allowed before
Signing this document.
What's a car ear?
you have it.
You go there every day and get money.
A career.
When did you and Julie decide to get married?
When's the wedding?
We're not having a wedding.
We're having a cantaloupe. Now that we're holding hands, we have to get married.
Weddings are a lot of money.
We can buy a cantaloupe.
Huh?
I heard it on TV once. 2 people got married in secret with a cantaloupe. There was a shotgun or something.
Okay. After the cantaloupe, I have to get a job.
Why do you get the job?
Because I'm smarter.
Oh, right.
You can carry the babies.
When will we get the baby?
We have to hold hands until a bird comes along and drops it.
Drops the baby?
Metaphorically.
Oh, right.
All right. Well, where are you going to live?
In the city.
Urban cities are densely populated.
And stereotypically in high demand for employees.
Did your sister write this for you?
Some of it.
All right. Well, I better get your identification.
And don't forget the cantaloupe.
Are you sure you don't mean eloping?
I know what a cantaloupe is.
All right. All right. Okay.
Did your daughter read you a contract? Yeah. You don't think they're serious, do you? Of course not. Any second now.
Oh boy.
Almost forgot the cantaloupe.
Who am I wild about? I'll tell you who. My little bundle of love. Tell me who I'm wild about now. Who am I wild about? Say I'll tell you who. Well, it ain't nobody but my bundle of love. And who can I do without? Say I'll tell you who. My bundle of love. Oh, how I rave. I never keep shut. I can't behave. I'm going over my nut. And who's to blame? I'll explain. Ain't nobody but my little bundle of love.
Welcome back to Film Speak. Sitting here around the table, about to have a great conversation with Kathleen Anderson and Clarissa Miller. Find out what they've been up to. I have had the pleasure of working with Kathleen Anderson a couple of times. And I've definitely had the pleasure with working with Clarissa many, many, many times. Yeah, you know, it helps when you're the director's spawn, I guess.
Does it help?
Well, it also helps.
We're gonna call it.
It also helps when you're the most talented makeup artist that the director knows. That definitely can help.
You know me.
But first, let's slide over to talk to Kathleen here. Thank you very much for coming on the show. I know the couple of times I've worked with you, both times we mentioned like, hey, you got to come on Film Speak. And you know, we had to kidnap her, put a gun to her head, but here she is, and one of our guests.
I'm really glad to be here. You guys. Okay.
Now, I guess we'll just start off working with me in films and stuff. Where do you find that you get your inspiration as a writer-director to tell your stories and where your stories come from?
Well, I guess because I've always loved acting, and so I did a bunch of theater stuff, but I found that I was actually, when I was like 12 years old, I was kind of giving directions and just kind of going, like, I think you should do this, you know, go over there. And then a lot of the people be saying, I'm the director, not you. And I was like, well, sorry, I'm better. No. I was really confident as a child, and then just kind of like, awkwardness ensued. but oh gosh. And then I figured out that, yeah, I like telling people what to do. So that happened.
So that's what attracted you the most, was the power. Yeah. It's not like you have a story to tell. You just like controlling people's lives.
Oh,
That's good to know.
See, that's what I tell people. But actually, yeah, the first time I watched a movie, I was well, I can remember watching a movie. I was 4 years old in a theater, and I saw Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. And I had the idea of like acting, people acted, but I didn't understand the concept of CGI. Like, I didn't understand that you could have computer graphics with real people. So I just thought everything was real. And that New Zealand was a really crazy place. Because I was like, wow, they're filming in New Zealand. And then it just...
I want to go there.
Yeah. And I was walking around my house because we lived in Germany. That's not really important. Anyway, and I would walk around the house just quoting things. And I used to sleep on the stairs, so my brother would try to go up the stairs, and he'd be like, "I say, you shall not pass." And I was always hungry too. And I was like, yes, but what about second breakfast? So I'd always just do little things like that. And then it just sort of gradually became into, hey, I like cameras, I like stories.
So it was an evolution from seeing the first Lord of the Rings movie when you were 4, and just moving on up to now. Because you do have a great voice for your writing, of a very distinct style.
Thank you.
Really, really enjoy it. I know this is something that'll probably develop as the years go on. And I know also that you got into a film school.
Yeah, a couple.
A couple?
Yeah, you know, big cities, nothing much.
Well, aren't you going to Boston?
Yeah, that's definitely my first choice. Yeah,
Yeah,
Boston, Emerson College.
Now, whatever you do, don't let film school ruin you.
I won't.
Because see a lot of that happen. One of my biggest complaints, I remember I was going through a $5 Walmart bin of movies, and didn't realize it, but as I was talking to these 2 young gentlemen, I found out that they were film school students. And I was all excited because in the $5 bin, I'm like, oh my goodness, here's Alfred Hitchcock. Here's Kurosawa. Oh, there's Spielberg. Oh, Billy Wilder, you know? And they were excited about finding Dumb and Dumber. And so that pretty much just summed up film school for me right there. I was like, hey, why are you going? You don't know who Kurosawa is.
That's why they're there. That's why they're at film school. They got to figure it out.
They got to learn about it, I suppose.
To learn.
I guess in one aspect you can take it looking at it like that, but to my feeling, you know, if you didn't know what Ingmar Bergman's The Seventh Seal was, you know, then maybe you shouldn't be in film school.
They got to learn.
I'm a film snob. That's all it comes down to. I'm just a snob. When do you derive inspiration from movies that you watch?
Yeah, kind of, I guess. I guess I have to. Yeah, one of the Princess Bride was like a huge one because then you just like have all these beautiful colors and like acting and the story. It's like, whoa. Yeah, I watched that when I was young too, and I quoted that a lot. It would be like inconceivable, and then my brother would say, "You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means." So I was always a small one, little, but. Yeah, I remember watching, the first time I went to a theater alone was 2011. I watched War Horse because I didn't feel like watching Sherlock Holmes for some reason, so I went to see War Horse, and I was alone, surrounded by elderly people. And I was in the 9th grade, and I was seeing that, and it was Steven Spielberg, and he's like sweeping over England. I was like, oh, that's so pretty. And then I looked up a bunch of things, and how he was a director, and everyone kept saying, oh, he's so good because of like what he gave, and I've read a bunch of books on it, and one of the things, Captain Nichols, played by Tom Hiddleston, Lana, and there's a part where he's like on the horse and he's riding out, and you see his face, and that broke my heart, and I was like, who is this actor? He's so good. And then yeah, that kind of spiraled into that. But I remember seeing that, and I was like, how how does that happen? And then I figured out that, like, when they were filming, he asked, so how should I do this? And Steven Spielberg told him, it's like, what, how old are you? He's 29 years old. Well, I want you to, you're on this battlefield, you're a soldier, you get on that horse and you're riding through, but then the German gun is pointed in your direction. And I want you to strip away 20 years of your life. I want to see the 9-year-old. And I want to see like all that emotion, is scared and doesn't want to be there. And that was really inspiring to hear something like that, and just a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, War Horse was a great movie too, and Spielberg is a very solid director. Like Clarissa, I know we have similar taste in movies.
Yeah.
Not like we like a lot of the same stuff, but we have different favorites.
Yeah, we're like on the same page, but we're like different spectrum. Like you're on the top of the page and I'm on the bottom. I'm on the top of the page, you're on the bottom of the page.
Yeah, I could take that.
So yeah. But
well, you know, when you're watching movies, what do you look for in a film?
I like, a lot of it's visual for me. I love colors. I love color schemes. I was gonna say I feel like you're a Wes Anderson person because you say you like colors. Yeah. So like that's like, colors are really important. But also I don't know. I'm just, there are a lot of things because.
Well, yeah, some of your favorite movies like Trainspotting, Moulin Rouge. Yes. I mean, colors are very important for all those films. Yeah, yeah. What are some other ones? Let's see, Trainspotting, Moulin Rouge. Heathers, colors is very important for Heathers.
Watch them tell me my favorite movies now.
The Graduate.
The Graduate. I was taking film analysis class, and we went over The Graduate, and it was soundtrack and colors, and like a bunch of other stuff. But soundtrack
is super important to me. Because, like, you don't realize it when you watch a movie, but the soundtrack really can make or break a movie. Because, like, watching productions before soundtracks are put into it, and you're like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then you put the music in, and you're like, wow. Like, it just becomes so much more powerful with the music in it. So I think that's really important.
The right score, you may not even noticing it, but the emotion that it brings out of you because it's tickling the bottom parts of your brain that you don't even realize.
Because, like, you're not paying attention to that. You're paying attention to dialogue and you're paying attention to visuals, but the soundtrack and scores are so important, and I don't think people pay attention to that.
They help establish the emotion. You know, would the scene in Trainspotting when Ewan McGregor overdoses
without Lou Reed playing, like,
would that be the same?
You wouldn't feel anything.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh well, he's dead. Great.
That's just too bad.
Yeah, that sucks. Poor guy.
Sucks for him.
But like, Perfect Day playing, and you're just like, ouch. Like, it gets you.
Now, you have the 2 shorts that we've worked together out. Do you have anything else that's coming up?
Now that you mention it. I have one, it was originally called The People's Hotel, and then I was like, I don't have enough money to pay for hotels for a bunch of people. I mean, not the whole hotel, just the room. But I don't have that much money, and I'd rather save it on more equipment, props, not quite that. So I changed it, and then I have to change the name too. So it's A Most Unusual Company, and that just came out of nowhere. I was like, ooh, what sounds good? Sounds good.
That's a great title, though.
Yeah, I really like it. I was like, brain, thank you. It's my brain complimenting my brain. So, yeah, and it's about this girl, Robin. She just turned 18 years old, and well, I mean, it's in the synopsis, so if you go online, you'll find it anyway. But she's depressed, and she's sort of on the verge of suicidal. But there's going to be a shot of like her parents a bit neglectful because they're gone. They just gave her a bunch of money. It's like, okay, yeah, you can do whatever you want. It's like there's no thought put into it. So that sort of tips her over the edge, and she goes out to this place, accidentally comes across a boarding house. It's not a bed and breakfast because she doesn't have the breakfast, just the bed. It's a line. And so she comes across a boarding house. She's like, okay, I'll just stay here. And she meets a family. I don't know, I really like this sort of trope of a successful single mother. It's just, I really like that. Because you have like all these like single mothers, but they're not successful. But yeah, they can be if they want to be, you know, a strong woman. And so she has kids, and they're like really bright, and you end up meeting, because I don't want to give it all away, but you end up meeting this pretentious heir to a company, and in a fit of rebelliousness, he hires a prostitute. Ooh. And then there are two fugitives, and they've been in jail. This is important later when you watch it, but they've been in jail for about, 6, 7 years, and so then they end up all coming together, and there's a bunch of misunderstandings.
So it's kind of a Grand Hotel formula.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be in a hotel originally,
yeah.
But then it just ended up being, and I'm rewriting it, and I'm using nearly all of the same dialogue, but I'm just putting it in different places. Yeah.
Well, have you ever seen the movie Grand Hotel?
No.
I recommend it.
Okay.
It was the first film that did that, where you had 4 different sets of characters, all in a hotel, all with their own stories, but everything was going on simultaneously and interlocked. And that was the first film to do that. So every film that comes out afterwards where you have an ensemble cast like that, it's called the Grand Hotel formula. So from 1936, I believe, worth checking out. As a filmmaker, I think you would enjoy it. But thank you for joining us. Is there any last tidbits you'd like to tell about where to be able to find out about you?
Well, I have a website. It's valkyriepictures.co.vu. That's Valkyrie, VALKYRIE, pictures.co.vu. There's also Facebook. It's facebook.com/Valkyrie Motion Pictures, and I have a Twitter. It's just Kathleen Anderson. I don't want to make a Twitter, I didn't want to make a Twitter for just that. So, but there's just a bunch of places, and an Instagram.
They'll be able to find you, and we'll have some of those up in the credits, so people will be able to find you and keep track of you. All
fix my follower to
4 or 5 people watching, And Carissa, I know you're involved. She's basically forced into working on my projects.
Yep, whatever you say, boss.
Well, yeah, you see, you have kids, so you can use them as slave labor and make them do whatever you want. And it doesn't hurt that she's super talented.
You.
Aww. She's starting to get into acting also, coming up.
Yeah.
Done a couple small things. Got some small things coming up. And and please join us here in just a minute. We'll be talking about the most excellent film, The Princess Bride. I know, I have a feeling that all 3 of us are going to have tons to say.
We're all going to be yelling over each other.
Talking over each other. It's going to be.
We're all going to be having our own conversations with ourselves.
Somebody might end up getting shanked. You never know. So please join us. We'll see you in just a minute. Welcome back to Film Speak. We've already gotten started laughing and enjoying ourselves before you guys got here. We just pretend like you're not even here. We're going to be talking about Princess Bride. You can see Princess Buttercup right here, but she's gone already. This is a favorite movie for all 3 of us on the panel. So we might get annoying dishing out lines and trivia and talking over each other, getting really excited. We'll go ahead and start with my guest here, Kathleen. I know you are dying to talk about this film.
Yes.
So please tell us your thoughts on The Princess Bride.
Well, I don't know much about it. Okay, I love it. My dad showed it to me, and
me too.
The story, I was, wow.
I thought I introduced it to you, but it was actually her dad?
Yeah. He's a cool guy.
Okay. And the first time I saw it, it was like The Princess Bride. I was so psyched, and then it goes to like this video game, and I was like, what is this little boy doing on my screen? I want whatever. I didn't know his name. I was like, I want the blonde dude. Because when I was young, I had this crush. Well, every time I watch it, I have this slight crush on Carrie Ewells, and I'm just like, and on Buttercup. all of
Yeah.
them. They're really attractive people.
I think for Princess Bride, I'd probably have a crush on Billy Crystal.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Miracle Max.
See, it's more about the personality.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the things that got me started into more like stories, because the story was just so good and it's timeless. And then I ended up reading the book, and the book has this beginning. I love it so much because you get more personality to Princess Buttercup, and well, when she was a peasant more, and she had a lack of imagination, so she named her horse Horse. So it's like, oh boys, I don't need boys, I've got a horse, and that's enough. And yeah, and there's a whole bunch of things, like how she was the 20th most attractive person when she was 16 years old, but then as she started actually cleaning herself, she quickly jumped until she was like number 1. Yeah, started from the bottom. And I love it, and I love quoting it. And when you told me that would be the movie, I was just alone, and I was like, I was born for this moment.
I was born to talk about Princess Bride.
Oh man, it's either Lord of the Rings, Princess Bride, and The Scarlet Pimpernel. Those are the 3 things I love talking about. I can go on. Anyway.
I'm with you. I consider The Princess Bride to be a near perfect movie because it's got something for everybody.
Perfect?
Yeah.
Near perfect.
What's wrong with it?
What's wrong?
Huh?
Yeah. Where's your
Well,
issue?
it's perfection is unachievable. If it was perfect.
I'm right here.
Ah! But it has sword fighting.
Nope.
It has romance. I mean,
It has Carrie Ewell's
fantasy,
in his
yeah.
prime.
It's a kissing book.
It's a kissing book. Chris Sarandon. Tell us your feelings about Princess Bride,
I'm
Carissa.
actually going to bring up a story. Don't know if you remember this. That one time I jumped off the side of the slide. It was probably 5. I jumped off the side of the slide and busted my face open. I was covered in blood, crying, and all I wanted was to watch The Princess Bride. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember
I was
that.
just like, I just want to watch The Princess. You were there. Hang out with her dad. I was just like, oh, I really just want to watch The Princess Bride. Like, it was my favorite when I was younger, along with like Rocky Horror. You know.
Oh,
It was a solid favorite when I was 3. I used to put on my dress-up heels and sing "Sweet Transvestite."
Yeah. There's not much difference from Princess Bride.
Yeah, but
otherwise.
Princess Bride, one of the funniest movies like ever.
Great subversive line, great acting.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
I was blown away. I mean, this gives me a lot of respect for Carrie Elwes. Chris Sarandon, when they're doing the whole scene when he comes out of the woods, and no, not Chris Sarandon, Christopher Guest, when he says, "You have 6 fingers. I know somebody who's looking for you," and Christopher Guest smashes him on top of the head. Carrie Elwes told him to really hit him, and Christopher Guest knocked him out. They had to stop production for the day because he had a concussion and had to go to the hospital. But that's the clip they use. They really, bam, and knocked him right out.
How it should be.
And also, I know this is something kind of remarkable. Andre the Giant kept trying to get Carrie to drive the golf cart to set. And the day that Carrie finally said, sure, he wrecked it and broke his foot. And so there are scenes, when he's like on the rock, when they're on the top of the hill.
Is it just like head up?
He's sitting on the rock, and his leg is all extended out and stretched out when he's sitting on the rock. It's because his foot's broken.
That's like Moulin Rouge. Nicole Kidman was in a wheelchair for half the movie.
Wow.
You knew that, right?
No, I did not.
That's why there's so many shots of like waist up, because she was in a wheelchair for whatever reason. I don't know what it was.
I thought she just liked to be carried around. I thought that was just her.
So, fun fact, there you go.
Yeah. It just goes to show when you're watching a movie, you never know what's happening outside of the frames of that camera.
Because it's crazy. Like, she was in a wheelchair, and all those scenes, she's like in a brothel dancing, but then like the other scenes.
I heard Andre the Giant, who's French, and had trouble reading English, for him to memorize his lines, Robert Reiner and another guy put them all on cassette. And Andre the Giant learned his lines by walking around with headphones on and listening to the scenes that he was doing.
I think I knew that. That's so cool. You probably told me.
There was, because it's in the 25th anniversary of the movie, they came out with the book. I read a lot too, okay, so there's a part where Princess Buttercup and Wesley, they're going through the fire swamp, and her dress catches on fire, and William Goldman, the guy who revised it and sort of made the screenplay, made it like popular again from S. Morgenstern, he, when her dress caught on fire, he like screamed out, he's like, her dress is on fire, we have to stop it. And everyone's like, her dress is supposed to catch on fire, you wrote the screenplay for this. He's like, oh, right.
He just got caught up in it so much. That's pretty good. RUOSs. You know Rob Reiner is the voice of the rats, of the RUSs?
Yeah, there was actually like, I don't know, like not tiny people. They're like in the suit and they're just like walking around.
And the noise of them growling is Rob Reiner in a microphone going, which is just awesome too, because that's a director cameo. It's you know, he got himself in the movie.
ROUSs? I don't think they exist.
I don't think they exist.
He just gets like knocked out. Oh gosh, I love it. Oh.
Yeah, brilliant movie. And this scenes with Billy Crystal. He improv that whole MLT thing.
Yeah.
You know, mutton, lettuce, and tomato sandwich, and the mutton is really lean.
They had to, apparently that was one of the ones they had to do the most of because Carrie, like, keep on laughing. He's supposed to be almost dead, but he, like, just keeps, like, bursting out laughing because he's just going on.
I read an interview with Mandy Patinkin. Hope I pronounced your last name right.
Patinkin?
Patinkin. Anyways.
Whatever.
That they asked him, did you suffer any injuries in the filming of Princess Bride? And he said, yes, I busted a rib working with Billy Crystal because I couldn't stop laughing. So I can only imagine what that was like trying to film that scene. Everybody having to keep a straight face. And much respect to Mandy because he said that Inigo Montoya was his favorite role that he ever played. And he says ever since the movie came out 3 or 4 times a day, every day, somebody comes up to him and says this line to him. And he doesn't mind. He says he loves it every time they do it. And thank you.
That's awesome.
Oh, also a sobering fact. Sorry, I just kind of cut everyone off. Sobering fact. Because Mandy Patinkin, his dad died like really sort of a little bit before Princess Bride.
Yeah,
and
of cancer, I think it was.
Of cancer, and when he's like facing the 6-fingered man, and he's like, "You killed my father, prepare to die," and give me anything I ask for. Is like, I'll give you anything you want. It's like, I want my father back, you son of a beast. Yeah, and he, with all that emotion, and like you get really caught up in it. That's real because he was pretending that Count Rugen was cancer, was like a personification of cancer, and he just like let all those like emotions go for that, and that was, oh man, that's gotta.
It shows.
Yeah.
You know, the performance that he gave was just brilliant.
And it wasn't like over the top, like raw. It was really so like real. Subtle, and it was just so intense, and oh man.
I had heard that Andre the Giant had really bad back problems during the filming.
Yeah, he couldn't actually carry anyone.
He couldn't carry anyone. They were actually being held by strings and stuff. So like the fight scene with Wesley, and when he catches and he's carrying Princess Buttercup and stuff, he really wasn't.
Yeah.
But what a tremendous performance. He said that he loved making this film because nobody stared at him. He said it was the first time in his life where he worked on something or was somewhere and people did not treat him any differently than anybody else. That when they looked at him as a person, not as, you know, this giant person, giant, yeah. And I think that's really sweet. That goes to show, I think, a lot of times the acceptance of actors and crews and everything.
Like the most open people you'll ever find anywhere.
Yeah,
Bunch of characters.
Bunch of characters. We're a bunch of freaks, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You just fit right in, buddy.
Oh coming.
Yep.
Yeah, and then also touch on, because you had the Princess Bride story, but I also love the relationship of Fred Savage and Peter Falk. Because I love Peter Falk, one of my favorite actors from the late 60s through the 70s and stuff, Columbo. And then to see him when he got in this film. I mean, just such brilliant. At the end, you know, when he says, "As you wish," I mean, it just makes me cry almost every time it touches me.
Cries like a little baby.
And then I can say Peter Falk touched me, you know.
Touched us all.
he touched us all.
There's one thing you said, crying. I don't know why this always happens to me, but when Wesley, he's still the man in black. He's just like the masked man and stuff. You don't really know who he is. I mean, you kind of figured. But anyway, there's a part where he goes, it's like, did you marry him right away, or did you wait a week in respect for the morning? And then, oh goodness, what's her name, the actress's name?
Robin Wright.
Robin, yes it is. Okay, and she goes, you mocked my pain, never do it. I died that day, and every time I feel myself tearing up, and I'm like, because it's just so, I really like that. Mm-hmm. That's one of the parts, just.
You've always been so kind to me. I just wanted to let you know that I plan to kill myself in the morning.
I was like, oh, she kissed me.
Yeah, she kissed me. Isn't that nice,
that's
dear?
And then she's about to, and then he's just sitting on the bed like.
Yeah, there's a shortage of perfect breasts in the world. It'd be a shame to waste yours. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? If you haven't seen this movie, you probably should be watching the show.
Yeah. If you haven't seen this movie, what the heck?
Yeah,
like,
I know. When did you leave Russia, for Christ's sake? I bet you even most Russians have seen this frickin' movie.
I watched it in one of my classes in like 7th grade. Our teacher was like, "We're gonna watch Princess Bride 12 times."
12 times.
We really watched it over and over because she wanted us to study it.
And there's I have no problem with that. That's the kind of education we should be teaching kids. Well, any last thoughts on The Princess Bride, you guys?
I mean, watch it.
Yeah,
watch it. I think.
Yeah.
There's kind of a spoiler alert. I just don't want to. If anyone hasn't watched it, I was waiting for that. Okay, and it's just don't listen to this part because it's really actually in depth. But there's a part when he says, "Who kills Prince Humperdinck?" It's like no one kills him. And it's like, what are you talking about? Someone has to kill it. Is it Inigo? Well, Inigo. He says Inigo, which grinds my gears. Is Inigo Montoya? Like who kills him? And at the end, nobody kills him. And it's like, you don't have to vanquish the guy. You just have to leave him cowering.
Count Rogan had to die.
No, he had to die.
But
he was, in the book, his character literally, he had no emotion the whole entire time, except the only joy he found was in torture, literal torture. And in the movie, he's like writing a book on pain. How does that make you feel? Interesting.
I just
Marvelous.
Stole 3 years from your life.
Yeah.
Be candid. This is for prosperity.
Yeah. But yeah, in the book, I think that's actually taken exactly from it, and it's just.
You know, the albino has yet to watch Princess Bride. Because he had an allergic reaction to the contacts and the makeup and was in terrible pain the whole time filming. Oh. And so because of that horrible experience, he has never watched Princess Bride.
Poor guy.
Which I guess he has an excuse to, but you know, he's
missing out.
Yeah, he's missing out because he gave us some great scenes. You know,
he only has like, what, 2 lines?
Where'd you put the wheelbarrow? Over the albino? Right. Yeah, he only has 2 lines, but how perfect is, you're in the pit of despair. Don't even think about trying to escape. Clarissa, any last thoughts on The Princess Bride? I mean, I think you said it. Go see it.
Yeah, just watch it. Like,
yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, just watch it. You have to. And thank you for joining us. Please join us next time, where I'm sure we'll be talking about movies with some other people sitting here. If not, it could just be by myself, and I'll just spend the whole time just talking about films.
You're obnoxious.
Actually, I think that might be my next show. We got that? All right. Good night, everybody. Well, that was a great show. I tell you, there's nothing I like more than talking about some of my favorite movies. Anybody who's had a conversation with me, they know this is true. Get me started talking about a film and I just won't shut up. So thank you to our guests for coming on the show today. It was absolutely wonderful to have you and to find out what you're up to and your opinions on the movie Princess Bride. Because if you didn't like it, I'd probably hurt you. Please join us next time. I'm sure that eventually we're going to have some majorly fanciful guests that will just love to be here. I just can't tell you who they are right now. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and on YouTube. That's Burn Mill Productions on YouTube. You can see all our short films and TV shows, past episodes of Film Speak. And you can also find us on Facebook. On Facebook, /Talk Films to Me. Just one word. We'll be seeing you again, and have a great day.